Very interesting. So I'm not sure if you heard of Project 2025. Here are a few videos. These are people that are against it. Well, by the way, Heritage Foundation is leading that, and it's a Catholic-run movement, but there's a lot of conservative there as well. But some of these people, when you hear them, look at the thumbs down. So people don't like this very much. They feel like they're going to lose their freedom and everything else. Anyway, Heritage Foundation is kind of like using the left talking points to kind of make fun of them on that video. You'll see what I mean. It's just that, but they are for the Project 25. They actually the ones that are pushing it. But it's a plan for 2025 with the new president, which they believe is going to be Donald Trump, which I think is going to happen too. But their plan is to take over America and fix it from all the crazy stuff that's been going on. From the woke ideology, from the left, from abortion, everything, just completely change the system. And some people are saying, is there a Sunday law in that? And I begin to look, I'm realizing actually there is. It's hidden. But is it going to be a National Sunday law in 2025? I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't know. But there's something really serious happening there. And let me say this, from my research of Project 25, not everything they're pushing is wrong. A lot of what they're pushing is good. It's good for society. It's good for the children. Like, they're keeping all the gay stuff away from kids. They're really trying to clean up, you know. But I think some of that cleanup can also go to the extreme. So you know how things go.
So that's everything.
Yeah.
Not blessed by God and not led by God.
Yeah, oftentimes it leads.
Everything has two sides to the street.
Yeah. So there we go.
We begin tonight with a terrifying concept.
A frightening article.
They're calling it Project 2025.
Incredibly important reporting people need to pay attention to.
This plan that they want to put in place if the Republican Party wins the presidency upon the inauguration.
According to the New York Times, those plans include bringing independent agencies under direct presidential control.
It's kind of being pitched under the guise of dismantling the administrative state.
They say they would plan to do this with any Republican president.
It's about deregulation. It's about deconstructing the administrative state.
There's a network of conservative groups who are backing this effort, like the Heritage Foundation.
Take this very seriously. Don't think this is a joke.
It is incredibly alarming.
Frightening development.
You don't have to be a civics dork to know that you don't want that.
We've never seen anything like this in American history.
Nothing else. The music is enough to get you scared. That crescendo.
Yeah, that crescendo is serious.
You're not even paying attention to the words. Whatever they say goes. It's amazing how they use so many different things to kind of like push this thought process that they want to accomplish and achieve.
Yeah.
I'm like, the music is making me anxious.
So this is the Lincoln Project. They are a left-leaning group, and they tend to expose everything that's coming from the right. Anyway, it's a back and forth, king of the South, king of the North. But anyway, they're speaking about Project 25 here as well. Listen to what they have to say.
They say Project 2025 will change your life. For once, they're telling the truth.
Donald Trump gets in for 4 more years. He's going full throttle.
Project 2025 is Trump's plan to make America different, less free, less fair, less American. It's a roadmap for total control, Trump's control.
The gloves are off. There are no holds barred here.
Not just of the government, of your life, of your body, of every one of your freedoms, of what you can read and say, and where you can travel. He'll round up American citizens, use the government to punish his enemies, put the crazy and corrupt in power forever.
It's 4 years of scorched earth when Donald Trump retakes the White House.
But he promises to only be a dictator for one day. One day, sure.
You know, sometimes it's too juicy. You can tell it's like, it's a little too juicy.
Yeah.
You're doing it a little too much.
They're doing the music too. They've got the suspense going.
And I mean, no one's saying that everything that Trump is pushing is good, but even Project 25 is not a Trump plan either. It's actually it's a right-wing leading plan, but it's not so much Trump, like they want to say. Anyway, the Lincoln Project, if you know anything about them, that's just all they do. It's completely hysterical. Anyway, but let's go to their page. This is where Project 25 is mentioned, Heritage Foundation. So we're going to read a little bit about it. So these are some key points that they're going to mention. We're not going to read everything, of course, but they're going to tell you what their I think they have about 4 major pillars. And you can read a lot more. So here's the first pillar. Yeah, I'm
Wait, so who
Say it again?
is in charge of this Project 2025?
Oh, it's a whole bunch of people. Yeah, it's...
Which would it be coming from Trump's people or from... I mean,
well, it's a conservative movement.
Is it? Okay, so it would be more Republican.
It will be Republicans,
okay.
Well, yeah. But it's a lot of people in it.
So there's multi-parties and behind this Project 2025.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it tells you, with the Biden administration half over, with the immediate dangers inherent to one-party rule in Washington behind us for now, it is time to lay the groundwork for the White House more friendly to the right. For decades, as the left continues to march through America's institution, conservative has been outgunned, outmatched when it comes to the art of government. So the whole thing is they want to train more conservative, more Christian voices to be in government, to bring about change. That's kind of what they're pushing. So this is a pushback from the right for what the left has been doing. Mm-hmm. So here's the first pillar. I'll let you do some reading. Yeah.
All right. The first pillar, the upcoming production of the policy book, Mandate for Leadership, represents the work of more than 350 leading conservatives and outlines a vision of conservative success at each federal agency during the next administration. Presidential candidates won't be able to ignore what the conservative movement demands in this book.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Keep going.
Second pillar.
The second is our online personal database. This conservative LinkedIn will launch in March and will provide an opportunity for rock-solid conservatives to place themselves in contention for roles in the next administration. This pillar will bring Mr. and Mrs. Smith to Washington.
Mm-hmm. Third.
The third is our Presidential Administration Academy. When conservatives do finally make it into an administration, they often don't know what to do or how to seize the gears of power effectively. Through their inaction, or their encyclopedic knowledge of volumes of technicalities about the federal workforce, certain career federal employees are masterful in tripping us up. Our interactive, on-demand training sessions will change that. They will turn future conservative political appointees into experts in governmental effectiveness.
Mm-hmm. That's the fourth one.
The fourth and final pillar of Project 2025 is our playbook, which will take the policy ideas expressed in Mandate for Leadership and transform them into an implementation plan for each agency to advocate to the incoming administration. What regulations and executive orders must be signed on day one? Where are the greatest needs for more political appointees? How can we effectively use the mechanisms of government to face our most challenging problems? Mm-hmm. Our playbook will put our movement to work answering questions like these.
Yep. There's a lot on the playbook for those of you who've been studying this matter. I'm going to bring someone else to the channel now who's going to break it for us. So this is Scott Ritzema from Belts of Truth, Seventh-day Adventist, and he's going to put everything in perspective for us here.
All right, Bible prophecy students, we've got Project 2025 for you today. People have been asking me about this. Brother Ritzema, tell us your thoughts on Project 2025. Is it prophetically significant? You've heard the buzz. Have people poo-pooed it? Is there misinformation about it? Yeah, I'm going to give you just the quotes, the statements from it. You decide for yourself. But if you haven't learned of prophecy, who the first beast of Revelation 13 is, who the second beast of Revelation 13 is, what the mark of the beast is, this won't make a whole lot of sense to you. So go back through the 14-part prophecy series on this very channel, or go to beltoftruth.tv and watch 7 Deadly Myths in Christianity, 10 parts, and then watch America's 11th Hour, 4 parts. You'll have an entire course on Bible prophecy, and all this stuff will be put into context. I only have 1 page out of the 920 pages of the Project 2025 document because this is the prophetically significant one. The rest of the document is unsurprising conservative principles that the Heritage Foundation and their collection of think tanks and interest groups are advocating for the next presidential administration to implement. This one with the heading Sabbath Rest got the attention of students of Bible prophecy. By the way, if you want your attention brought to Bible prophecy and the present truth, you want to be subscribed to this channel. Subscribe right now, because we're doing a Sunday law update right now, and they will continue to come as the news develops. So stay updated, keep up to speed. Now let's read from the document. God ordained the Sabbath as a day of rest. True or false? You're thinking true, aren't you? Because you're thinking of the actual Sabbath of the fourth commandment, the seventh day. They're talking about the first day of the week, because later they talk about a communal day of rest that has eroded. So we used to have a communal day of rest. What day was that? That's the first day of the week. So false. God did not ordain the first day of the week as a day of rest. Until very recently, the Judeo-Christian tradition sought to honor that mandate by moral and legal regulation of work, on that day. Pause right there. They are advocating for national laws for the Fair Labor Standards Act to be amended and the Department of Labor to begin to implement something that we're going to see in a second, entry-level stuff, foot-in-the-door stuff, but this is at a federal level. They're saying until very recently this was the case, and that was at a state level. This would be a national Sunday law if they get this passed. So that's significant right there. But what are they advocating? Legal regulation of work on Sunday. Is that something that we should believe in? I want everybody to observe the seventh day of the week, but I'm not going to try to pass a law regulating what people can and can't do. The decision needs to be made by the individual in the first four commandments, to worship him who made the heaven, the earth, and the sea. The first four commandments are about worshiping God, and God himself says, choose ye this day whom ye shall worship. And very recently we had some liberty of conscience issues about the body temple, particularly temple, that's worship language, about offering our bodies as living sacrifice. And so the very people, some of them were very strong against mandating, and we just read that word in this document, mandating certain things upon individuals in spite of their conscientious objection to it. Now they're advocating mandating other things, legal regulation of work on Sunday. A social engineering project of their own who've spoken out against the social engineering madness of our day, allies on so many points, missing the boat big time here because they say, unfortunately, that communal day of rest has eroded. We got to reestablish a communal day of rest. Is this individualism or is this collectivism? It's one or the other here, right? We've got a collectivist ideology on the right. You think of that as authoritarian communism and crazy left-wing ideologies. Communal day of rest to be brought through legal regulation is the language in the opening paragraph. There is nothing about liberty in this paragraph. Now, what is the exact policy to be advocated here? Congress should require that workers be paid time and a half for hours worked on the Sabbath. That day would default to Sunday. Now you might say, well, that's not the biggest Sunday law ever, but remember, these things will incrementally develop. This is a foot in the door if this legislation was to be passed. This isn't drafted legislation yet. This is a policy requesting legislation be drafted and passed by Congress and signed by the President and then implemented through the Department of Labor. So that's the policy, and it's not like the final Sunday law, but this is a national Sunday law that they are advocating drafting. There's one more thing in there that I didn't mention, and that is that seventh-day Sabbath-keeping employers are not required to pay their employees time and a half for work performed on Sunday. Assuming that is because they're already giving their employees a day off at least. But the goal here is to get us back to a communal day of rest. That's why the secular employer is required to have it be Sunday that they pay time and a half to. Even if that's a restaurant and that secular employer wants to be off on Monday, like, nope, you got to pay time and a half on Sunday because we're trying to get back to a communal day of rest. Biblically, the last 6 commandments are the purview of the state, not the first 4 commandments. We don't want a papal, apostate Protestant version of social engineering. We can speak the truth in love, filled with grace and truth, warn the people about the prophetic alarm bells that are ringing, that this is a step toward that final Sunday law and mark of the beast enforcement. We've been warned. Stay tuned. Subscribe to this channel. Fix your eyes on Jesus. Let your hearts not fear for what's coming upon the earth, but lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
This is good.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. I like the way he puts that. It's a step, because oftentimes we go into the radical stuff. Sunday law is coming. Like, I'm like, yo, y'all been saying Sunday law is coming for.
It's like that slippery slope. It's just like,
it's a step.
you know, Satan doesn't work. And what do they say? He doesn't come like with a pitchfork and red horns. He comes very subtly.
Yeah,
he
very
comes
subtle.
in very discreetly and like little by little. And before you know it, you don't realize the depths of the impact that it's happened. So it's small changes, simple steps that lead to bigger. I mean, it's just like with anything that we do, right? We can see when we go to school, when we do certain things, it's like it's not these huge things that we do. It takes steps to build up to that final moment.
Absolutely.
Whether it be marriage, whether it be birth, whether it be buying a house, like everything has steps
That leads
before
to it.
you lead to that final, that big, the big bang of it all.
And I think that's kind of where we are headed prophetically as well. So I don't think we should be hysterical about it, though, because some people will just lose their minds over that. Dennis Shelton had a really good sermon this week from 3ABN, and I reacted to it. He was calling for the church to be balanced, even in Bible prophecy. And that's part of what Scott Redsimmer was actually addressing here, is that there has to be a balanced approach to this matter as well. So we don't end up saying things that are not true and everything else.
Some of us in an uproar. My suggestion is we be balanced. My suggestion is we be balanced. Don't try to make something if it's not there. If we cry wolf too long, no one will listen to us, right? When it finally comes to pass.